Greetings, YouTubers. My name is Xavy Wyldeman, and this is my first uh video for my new YouTube channel. And I'm gonna embrace the suck. Understand that I'm gonna fuck this up and just run with it. But today's topic is working out, how to build muscle, how to lift weights. So just as a little bit of a backstory, uh, I'm in my late 30s. I'm a teacher and former computer programmer, former aircraft mechanic. I've done a lot of things, and I've lived all over the world. And especially as a teacher, the last 10 years, I've been able to live all over the world. And in 2018 to 2020, I was a teacher in China. And when I got to China, the pollution was so bad, I didn't want to run. I didn't want to do any type of cardiovascular activity because, to give you an idea, the pollution would be so thick on the worst days during winter that I couldn't see more than 100 meters to the building across the way from my apartment building. Like, it was this thick fog, but it wasn't fog. It was this plastic formaldehyde smelling pollution that would just roll in. And for whatever reason, it was much worse in winter. That the reason I was given is because they burn more coal for energy in the coal plants. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what I was told. So, yeah, I'm going to uh, switch back to here. And so, anyway, when I was in China, I decided, okay, I'm going to take this opportunity to really get into lifting weights. And twice before in my life, I had really gotten into lifting weights. The first time was as a teenager, as a skinny 15-year-old teenager living in Puerto Rico. And there was a guy who did a free weightlifting club at my school at the time in Puerto Rico. And his name was Suarez. And he was an incredible human being, and he changed my life. He added to my life, and he gave me a lot of self-esteem at the time when I was a skinny 15-year-old kid feeling really bad about myself, going through difficult teenage years. And so, yeah, it's an incredible feeling when you can change your body, make it bigger, stronger. It gives confidence, especially someone when they might not have it. The teenage years are difficult for everyone, and so that was my first experience lifting weights, and I loved it. And then, I stopped doing weightlifting when I left Puerto Rico, and the next time I seriously picked it up was when I was 30 and moved to Germany. And I decided once again I was going to get into weightlifting. And Germany is another place that has really terrible weather. I mean, I love the country. I respect the heck out of Germany. It's a country that works, and it works well. It's a functional country. They do stuff the way that they do it, and it works. But pretty much, I didn't see the actual sun for about 10 months out of the year. There was like 2 nice months between mid-June and mid-August that it was nice weather. The rest of the year, it was cloudy. I mean, the sun would be out. It would be a sunny day, and I would still look up. I couldn't see where the sun actually was because there was that thick of a cloud cover. And also because Germany is so far north, if you actually look at a map, I mean, it's on the same latitude as Canada. That means that during summertime, the sun doesn't go back down until like after 11 o'clock at night, and it's up at 4 in the morning, which is actually really fun. That's a fun time of year to be there. But it also means that in winter time, during the coldest month, or the longest day of the year, December, I mean, the sun's not coming up for like 9:30, and then 3:30, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, it's nighttime again. So my point is this: it could get really depressing there. So I got into lifting weights just because I wanted to get bigger, but a large part of the reason I continued to do it is because it really helped me with that wintertime depression, all that darkness. And that was the second time in my life that I really lifted weights, and I got really big. And then the third time was in China. So I just want to share some pictures with you first. First off, in the 2019, I had jaw surgery. And after I had jaw surgery, I couldn't exercise for like about 2 months. I was just super weak. I had lost a ton of weight because my teeth were wired shut, and I had to drink through a straw through much of that. And I lost a lot of weight because I wasn't eating regularly because it was difficulty, it was painful. I did it because I had to, not because I wanted to. So first off, let me show this picture. This is me a few days after my surgery. And you can see my face is really chubby. That's not because I was fat, that was due to swelling in my face. And you can see right here, there's the nurse. I had the surgery done in India. They did an amazing job. So that was the surgery. Then I want to show you after the surgery. This is a picture of me on maybe 3-4 weeks after the surgery. I'd started to put some weight back on. They took the wires off my jaw, and I instead had rubber bands, which what that meant was when I had to eat, I could take the rubber bands off to chew and then just put them back on afterwards. So maybe I was able to eat more because I didn't have to eat through a straw. So you can see right there. So that this would have been roughly like into March, probably sometime in March. I had the surgery in February. This is March. And then by December of that year, so like roughly 8-9 months later, this is where I got to. So I was pretty happy with this deal. It's a good size, good definition. I was probably above 200 pounds at this point. So I just show you this as proof that I know how to put on muscle. I went from having this much muscle to this much muscle within a matter of, basically 8 months. I'm not doing the math right now in my head, but more or less, let's just say, it was about 8 months. So how did I do that? What are my tips for putting on mass, for working out, all this stuff? First off, I want to tell you the good news. If you are not lifting weights, if you've not lifted weights in a while, it literally almost doesn't matter what you do the first 2 months. You will gain muscle. You will get bigger. I'd highly recommend you stick to core exercises, do it at least twice a week. And then in between workouts, you want at least 48 hours, right? For that muscle recovery. That's the minimum you want, 48 hours. So, if you lift at 12 o'clock on a Tuesday, you don't want to lift again until the following Thursday at 12 o'clock. Personally, for me, I believe in basing your workout around the core lift. Particularly, I believe in basing around, first and foremost, the squat. A squat is a compound exercise. You're using tons of muscles. It's going to tear lots of muscles. It's also going to increase your balance. It's going to increase your coordination, and it's going to stimulate growth. That's one of those. As you tear the muscle, the more muscle you can tear throughout your body, the more testosterone is going to get released as a response, and the more human growth hormone. So, I believe in basing your workout around the squat. That should be your first exercise. It should be difficult, but not so difficult that you're using incorrect technique. Then my second go-to exercise, deadlifts. Deadlifts are amazing, and this also is a compound exercise. And not that, but it's a compound exercise that replicates lifting that you're going to be using in real life. In that chain of muscles. It's also good for coordination, strength, balance. Then just the other basic ones that I would say starting out, and you can expand on them or change them as time goes on after this first 2 months. But I would go with standing rows. You're working at the back muscles, the arms, that pulling motion up from the ground. I would do overhead military press, and bench press. Personally, I like to use dumbbells. Barbells are good for building mass. Also, what I found is barbells, the long bar, you can do more weight. Because you can do more weight, you actually can bulk up a little bit faster. But with the dumbbells, you're going to get more of the small muscles. You're going to get more of that definition, and certainly more coordination, more balance. So in the long run, I find that anytime you can do dumbbells over barbells, more often than not, I find it's more beneficial, especially if you're an athlete, if you just want to get more shredded. But you can't go wrong, either one of them. is going to be good. So just to recap, I'd say squats, deadlifts, rows, overhead military press. It's the overhead press is also called military press. It's the same exercise. It's just an overhead lifting motion. And bench press. And if you only do those 5 exercises, you will be good. You will start to build muscle, all that. So I'd say the first 2 months, you can do just twice a week, spread it 2 days apart, 48 hours. And you could even do that like more than 2 months. You can do that 3 months. And then generally what you'll find is after 3 months, your body starts to acclimatize to it. Your body starts to get used to that stress, and you're going to start to see diminishing returns. And that's when you want to get creative. You want to get more intense. You want to get more diverse in which exercises you're using so that you can tear different parts inside of the muscle. You basically, your muscles are these strands, bundles of thousands of muscle fibers, and think of like a twine rope that's wrapped together, right? And depending on what you're lifting and which motion, where the pressure is being put on the muscle, different parts of that rope, that fibrous material, are getting more stressed than others. And those areas that get stressed more, they're going to get those micro tears. They're going to grow back stronger and with more blood circulation. So what you want to try and do is try and figure out where are those parts of the muscle fiber that aren't getting stressed or stressed enough already. And you do that by varying the lift. And, how would you vary the lift? Different grip placement, different width apart, volume, weight, all these things. So another rule of thumb for you to remember is, it's a real simple rule. Heavier the weight, the larger the muscle gets. The higher the volume, the more shredded, the more definition the muscle gets. So if you want to get bulkier, if you want to gain weight, you got to lift heavier weight. If you want to become like a bodybuilder or beach bod dude, you need more volume. You're going to go lower weight, but to failure. Personally, I believe in always going to failure, especially if you have a spotter. And having a spotter is such an advantage when you're lifting weights, but you don't need a spotter. If you're squatting, it's great to have a spotter, but there's always the squat rack to catch the weight if you go to failure. If you're doing bench press, it's great to have a spotter, but if you don't, you can always use the individual dumbbells. So you're not at risk of injuring yourself if you go to failure and can't lift it up. So splits. Let's talk about splits. Once you get past that initial 2 to 3 month period, and then you're trying to continue that growth curve, I'll tell you the split that I like the best. So first off, what's the advantage of splitting the exercises up? The primary benefit to me is that generally you can only work out for so long. For me, it's about 2 hours before I just lose my overall energy level. I'm just having calories to burn. I just start to zonk after 2 hours. So that generally means in any given workout, I can probably around 7 or 8 exercises, getting close to my limit of what I can do at full strength, get the most out of the workout. And then let's say I was going to add on another couple exercises at the end. I'm probably, by the time if I get to the 10th, 11th exercise, if I was really ambitious that day, try to add that on. I'm getting diminishing returns because I'm not able to produce the energy I need to lift those weights enough to tear the muscle how I want to. So first and foremost, when you do the split, it just allows you to do more exercises over the week, target different muscle groups. The second thing you have to consider is when you tear the muscle, you're releasing human growth hormone, HGH. You're releasing testosterone. You're releasing a lot of stuff. The body sends out these chemicals in the bloodstream to tell your body you need to grow, you need to get stronger, right? But here's the beauty of it. If you do squats one day, and it releases all that HGH testosterone. Well, if you go and do bench press the next day, it's a totally different muscle group. You're allowing your leg muscles to still rest from the day before. You're not using them, but when you tear that muscle now in your upper body, um, you're still releasing all that testosterone into your bloodstream. You're still releasing all that human growth hormone into the blood, because that goes everywhere. That circulates through the whole body. So essentially, by splitting out over multiple days your workout, you're basically tricking your body into sending more nutrients to circulate throughout all the body for all the muscles to use. So my favorite split is a 3-day split, repeat it twice. So it's 6 days total. You have 1 day off where you can actually, do something else besides lifting or rest. But I like to go legs, pull, push. I'll repeat that again. Legs, pull, push. So legs, that's self-explanatory. That's going to be your squats, your deadlifts, your quad extensions, your lunges, just pretty much your legs, and a lot of core stuff too that comes along though. It was especially the heavier compound lifts, right? Pull. I like to do this my second day, and I like to do it in this order because I find that you can do certain exercises more easily when you're already sore from other muscles than the reverse order. What I mean is, when my legs are sore, it's still pretty easy for me to do bench press. Whereas, let's say my back's really sore from the day before, it becomes more difficult for me to do a squat. That some of those muscles I'm going to be using are already sore. So legs, pull, push. Pull is any pulling motion. It's going to be mostly your back. It's going to be any curls, the bicep. It's any motion, mostly upper body that's pulling inward. So you can almost think of pull as almost like a back emphasized day, right? And then the last day is push. In some ways, push is the most fun day because that's when you get that big pump. You can look in the mirror, you can see your chest, your delts, and all this stuff getting bigger. Now that's just your pushing motion, anything like that. That's your triceps, your delts, your shoulders, just everything, your pecs. And I like to do these last. Now the second part of split is I like to do. I like to do this twice, right? So I'm doing 2 legs during the week. I'm doing 2 pulls. I'm doing 2 pushes. So like Monday through Saturday, or maybe I if I have time, maybe I'll work on the Sunday, and then I'll take that day off on Monday. However you work it out, but it's 6 days in a row, 1 day off. I find that what works best is the first round through. Right, there's 2 rounds. The first round, you want to go heavier weight. That's where you really want to do that heavy weight. And then the second time, so let's say I do legs on a Monday and I'm doing legs again on Thursday. Well, on Monday, I'm really going for as heavy weight that I can do. Maybe, doing my highest weight that I can do, 4 or 5 times. When I get to Thursday, the second time through, that's when I'm going for volume, right? So now I'm going for lower weight, more reps. And basically what I'm doing is, I'm first going for the bulk, then I'm going for the definition. And it's another really nice way to confuse the muscles, right? Because you're using the same muscles, but in different ways. So always remember, muscle confusion is good. If your body is perceiving that there's a stress that it needs to adapt to and it hasn't adapted to it yet, it's going to respond quicker, and the quicker it responds, the better results you get. So this is really good too. So I'm gonna stop there on the lifting. But I want to go a couple more things before I finish this video. One's nutrition. What's your post-workout nutrition? I want to go over stretching, and then after that I'll wrap it up with just a little bit of talk about consistency and stuff like that. So hopefully I'm not getting too pedantic, and you find some valuable information you can take away with this. So let's start with nutrition. Okay, so your muscles are contracting, they're relaxing, and then they need protein to rebuild. So there's three things you really need to get back in your body as fast as possible, ideally within half an hour to an hour after your workout. Um, and that is calcium, potassium, and protein. So protein is self-explanatory. Everyone knows that. Okay, protein helps you build new muscle. That's the building blocks of your muscle. Great. Got that covered. We know we need that. Meat, protein powder, any source of protein, it's going to do what you well, right? Let's talk about calcium and potassium. Why do you need these minerals? Calcium allows the muscle to contract. Potassium allows the muscle to relax again. So it's very important you get both these back in the muscle as soon as possible so it can recover and just basically fire again. So personally, how do you get calcium? I go with milk, whole milk. Whole milk's great. I think that's your best bet. It's simple, it's easy. And not only that, but milk has a ton of calories, fat, it has the protein. It's really good if you're trying to grow muscle, and hopefully you're not lactose intolerant. And then potassium. Potassium allows the muscle to relax. If you've ever done swimming or Brazilian jiu-jitsu and you're suffering from cramps, you eat a banana before you do the workout, no cramps, right? Why? Bananas have potassium. So bananas are going to be your best source of potassium. Once again, easy to eat, easy to find generally. So what is my recommendation? My recommendation is as soon as you can after you're lifting weights, you want to get a protein shake, right? It's milk with whey protein with banana blended in there. Boom. That should be like that. That's a really easy go to post-workout instant nutrition. And you can get creative, you can add other stuff there. I really like blueberries, they're full of antioxidants. There's plenty of other supplements, but that's your go-to right there, right? Now, so other supplements that are good for your muscles, magnesium. Magnesium is also really good for preventing cramping, just generally good for your muscles. Also, I highly recommend amino acids. Non-creatine. I'm not a fan of creatine, even though it does work, but I don't like creatine because everyone I've talked to who did creatine said, yeah, when I'm taking the creatine, it really helps. But then they also said as soon as they stop taking the creatine, they immediately lose the benefits they got from it. So I think our goal here should be long-term sustainable benefits. So I stay away from the creatine, amino acid powders, but you're going to look for those branch chain amino acids, BCAA, and these usually come in powders. You mix with water. They great flavors sometimes. You can get lemonade, this and that, and I really like to take those before I work out as a pre-workout, and it just starts to provide some of the nutrients that your body needs before you start working out, tearing this muscle. And I've even heard from bodybuilders like Flake Zane Flake Zane, one of my personal bodybuilding idols. It even helps with neurological function, just firing the nerves off and all that. There is always that mind-body connection to consider when you're lifting weights or doing any type of physical activity or sport. So that's my spiel on nutrition. Stretching. You want to stretch. First and foremost, the reason you should be doing stretching is injury prevention and pain prevention. When you get too tight, it hurts. It doesn't feel well. So obviously you want to get warm. You want to warm up before you work out. You want to stretch afterwards. I highly recommend doing yoga. Yoga is to stretching as squatting is to weightlifting. What do I mean by that? Well, as squatting is a compound lifting movement, yoga is compound stretching. If you look at a lot of the yoga movements, the downward dog, this and that, you're not stretching one muscle, you're stretching a chain of muscles. You're doing a lot of core twisting, all that stuff. So I think yoga's great. There's a lot of mobility exercise you can do. There's 20-minute, 15-minute, 25-minute mobility videos that you can find on YouTube that are excellent. Those really help a lot. Just to do what they say, game mobility, loosen up joints, loosen up the core. Um, I highly recommend doing a power stretch once a week. Not more than that, but just maybe on your off day. Um, set a timer, like a 5-minute timer for an hour, right? And just hold stretches in places that you feel tight, or just find your favorite stretches and hold them for 5 minutes, and do that for an hour. Just go through different ones. Maybe you plan beforehand what stretches you want to do. Once again, I really like stretching my glutes. I like stretching, downward dog. I just there's a million stretches. And I say find what works for you, find where you're tight. And then when you go into the stretch, go 90% of the way. You don't want to go too hard on the stretch, because the body's response when you go too hard is to tighten up even more. And that's like actually a neurological defense mechanism, that the body's like, oh, I'm stretching too much. If I stretch anymore, this is going to snap. I need to tighten up to protect myself. So you want to stop short of that 80 to 90%. So you want to get that nice stretching, but not too much. And they've done studies on this, clinical studies, where people who stretched like that 70 to 80% got just as much flexibility benefit as the people who went 100% to their maximum stretching ability. So sometimes less is more. In this case, I would say less is more. Just focus on the time on the stretch, not so much the intensity. Go somewhat intense, but not too much. My last note on stretching, and probably my number one tip, swimming. If you could even get in a pool after your workout, even 10 minutes, 10 to 20 minutes, is incredible what it can do to stretch out the muscles, just gently loosen them, relieve pain, relieve tension. I think there's also something to be said about being buoyant, just being kind of weightless in the water. And just you're doing like a lot of these stretches that are just opening up your body. And not only that, you're breathing at the same time. There's a lot of breath work intrinsically in the swimming that goes in with this movement, stretching. You're breathing, you're moving, you're buoyant, you're essentially almost weightless. Swimming does wonders after a hard workout, and it'll improve your recovery time also. So that's stretching. And then my last note is just consistency. Whatever you do, just show up, make a goal. So make a promise to yourself. If you can, get a training partner to hold you accountable, and to just say, I don't care what the result is. I'm going to commit to 6 months of showing up at least twice a week. Just promise yourself that. And then what I want you to do is, if at any point you're too sore, you're like, man, I can't do the workout, I can't, just promise yourself you're going to show up to the gym, get dressed, and just do half the intensity of the workout. If you're going to do 3 sets of each exercise, say, okay, I'm just going to do 1 set of each exercise, but I'm going to do each one of these exercises. And I'm going to tell you what's going to happen right now, not to spoil anything, but you're going to go there, you're going to say, I'm going to do half the workout. And then once you get going, you're going to realize that's all in your head. And even though your body doesn't really hurt, you're going to say, fuck it, I'm already here. Let's do this. Like, I want to do the full workout now. Now that I'm getting warm and I'm in the gym, I smell the iron. And you're going to get a good workout in. And even okay, so I don't know if everything I said before just got deleted or not. I'm hoping it doesn't. We'll find out soon. But what I want to say and following up is just consistency, right? The biggest determinant of success is going to be consistency. Do you show up? If you show up every time you plan to show up and still get a shitty workout, I'll tell you what, you're going to get a lot more results off those shitty workouts that you showed up for than half the workouts you showed up and did perfectly. But then you missed a whole bunch because you weren't feeling well. So Yeah, man, go forth and conquer. I'm Xavy Wyldeman Hall. I'm going to be putting out these videos every Tuesday, and I'm making a personal commitment to you that I'm going to put out 100 videos. So that's roughly almost 2 years, and just check that. That's like 4 weeks shy of 2 years of consistent videos, and this is my first video. Hopefully the videos get only better. This is definitely a learning process. I never start anything expecting that it's gonna go well. I started doing stuff expecting I'm gonna do poorly, and then over time I'll learn from my mistakes and get better. So um thank you for embarking on this journey with me. Until next week with the next topic. Xavi Wildman Hall signing out. Take care.